Infinite love, beautiful people, and welcome back to our new video. Today is the day we have to talk about responsibility. What is responsibility? What does it mean to be responsible? And how do you become a responsible person? Let us now inquire together and find out. Infinite love. Before we start, we have to set the boundaries for inquiry. When we are doing inquiry, we are learning together. That doesn't mean that you or I have to copy anything, but instead we have to observe and learn from it. And by setting the boundaries, we are coming close to that what responsibility is. So, what is responsibility? Responsibility means you have to do what is needed when it's needed, not what you like or what you don't like. So how can somebody become a responsible person? To find out, we have to observe the entire human mankind and the way that we live. When we observe the entire human mankind, it is easier to recognize that all of the human beings have same problems, because most often we are stuck with our own little problems. Not that they don't matter, but they are just becoming too personal and they are closing us, and we cannot get out of that and see the broader picture. So when we start to observing that the whole human mankind has the problem with responsibility, to find out why we are, as the human beings, so much irresponsible, we have to inquire into why and how does desire come into a being. I have a great video about that. I will link it here. Desire is very important because when we see a picture of something, instantly we create image how we doing that what we saw or owning, and because of that we won't have that thing. So our wanting becomes the main driving force for the entire life, and doing this we become more and more irresponsible because we want to indulge in that what we want, and we also trying to avoid that what we don't want. As the result of that, we become lazy. The laziness is just not willingness to do what is needed. But if we observe deeper, we can see that the real responsibility can overcome willingness. And how we can do that? To do that, we have to first know what the discipline is. So what is discipline? Does that mean that I have to discipline myself, or someone should discipline me? When you observe what the discipline is, you will often find out that it is ability to learn something new. So every time when you sit and you watch something very, very interesting, you are learning because you are listening. When you are not listening, but rather comparing and copying, then there is no discipline. So most of our school days are just learning something and repeating. So that means gathering knowledge. Because of that, most of us have not developed discipline. So what does it mean to discipline yourself? Well, you cannot discipline yourself. That is rather so silly. For example, like they do in the army. That's just becoming even more mechanical, robotical, and not knowing what to do. Instead, you need someone to tell you what you should do. And you learn some skill from that because you copy it. But when you develop the skill of observation, You are starting to observe what really is. The more you develop the skill of observation, the more you learn from yourself. And that implies discipline in your life. When the discipline is there and the observation is there, and they are not all the time thinking what you should do and what you should not do, then responsibility comes into a being. So you become responsible when you know that you have to do something, not because you like it or don't like it. It is needed. For example, when you see the person that needs help, maybe it has fallen on the street, you do it because it's needed, because there is compassion and love in it. So when the discipline is there and when the responsibility is there, there is compassion and love. Without the compassion and love, responsibility and discipline are not responsibility and discipline. They are just mechanical, learned things. That's why often people who are so much disciplined have problems with their family, because they have learned a certain way to do it and they cannot adapt on another way, because they do not observe what is needed to be done. They want to do what they have learned from someone. So to learn a discipline and to be responsible requires from you to be very sensitive. Sensitive in your observation, sensitive in relationships, to know what someone needs, to observe what is right. And the more you develop the skill of observation, the more you will be able to do that. So, as said in many videos, the skill of observation is something that you have to develop. And when you develop the skill of observation, then there is only observation. There is no the one who is experiencing and the one who is observing. There is no more observer. There's only observation. And because of that, you are doing what is needed when it's needed. And by itself, that is responsibility. So please, try this. Try this as we are speaking. You do not need time to become responsible. You either become responsible right now or you never become. Because it is always now. So if you really want to be responsible, just give your total attention. Observe yourself in relationship with your family, or for example with your wife or your man, and you will see what is needed to be done there. Because of that, you will be responsible. You will be completely different. You will function on another level. It will allow your true intelligence to flow through you, and then your brain becomes really infinite, because you transform your brain cells literally while you are observing and not thinking, not commenting on what you see. So you're not recording all the time. You are just observing what is. Then you can act when is needed. And that implies tremendous responsibility, discipline, love, and compassion. So, thank you for inquiring with me. And until next video, please try this for yourself. Infinite love.